It's the weekend update edition of Main Street Sports Today, presented by the Tennessee Orthopedic Alliance of Columbia. I'm Maurice Patton, along with Wade Neely. We'll be here with you for the next couple of hours discussing sports of local, regional, and national importance, so stick around. Ought to be a fun show. We will be joined in hour number 2 by VALAIR SHABILLA, talking a little Nashville Soccer Club. They have Inter Miami rolling into Geodis Park tomorrow night. Likely or definitely, Wade, without.
Definitely without. More on
definitely
that later.
Without.
Yeah.
Not Lionel Messi, but still be worth watching as the NSC is on a little bit of an uptick right now. So again, we'll be talking with VALAIR SHABILLA later in the show about that. In our next segment, we will be joined by Nashville Sounds pitcher GARRETT Stallings. GARRETT Stallings, former member of the University of Tennessee baseball program. So we'll see if he shows up in orange for this one. But looking forward to
out a little bit, right?
Yeah, looking forward to talking to him about his former team and about his current team. So yeah, it should be a lot of fun. Again, we'll be talking some Braves and some Major League Baseball, as well as one draft that just finished, another one getting started, and various other. There's a little race in the area this weekend that we will probably talk a little bit more about. Kind of pony. What's the word I'm looking for? Piggyback. There we go. On our conversation yesterday with Heather Williams.
I was tracking with you. I was tracking.
Yeah, everything's not always firing all the time. Maybe it's just nap time. Saw a little bit of that last night. But anyway, what else? Like I said, NBA draft wrapped up yesterday with round 2. I'm still trying to figure out how you stretch 58 picks into 2 days. But hey, do you, NBA? And we have some arena football news that we will be getting to at the end of the show. But the short version is, if you were planning on going to Municipal Auditorium tomorrow to see the Cats, find something else to do. We'll talk more about
alternative plans, right?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, you can go to Municipal. You might even be able to get in. I don't know, but there won't be a game. So, again, we'll talk more about that later in the show. So, that's kind of where we are and what we got. Wade left us yesterday and went and had some Mexican food in honor of Mama Neely's birthday. So a good time was had by all, I assume.
It was fun, man. We had a good time. Mom, another trip around the sun. Always good to celebrate with her. And we'll talk about it a little bit later. But then one of the more embarrassing moments in the history of our nation yesterday, Mo. USA lost to Panama. That's what everybody thought I was talking about. As we'll get into that with VALAIR. Me and my pops were watching the match at Senor Lopez. Shout out here in town, and it wasn't good for the Yanks last night.
That doesn't sound good. I mean, I don't know a whole lot about international soccer, but that is a result that would kind of take me a little aback. Let me ask you something, Wade. We were talking off air as we were getting ready to come on. What roughly is Pulaski / Giles County's population?
Total guess, I want to say we got like 7K in the city and maybe like 30 in the county.
So 30 total or 37 total?
That would be, I think, like 31,000 total, I think.
Total, okay.
Jesse Parker at the Chamber is going to kill me for not knowing this.
For not knowing? Sorry, I didn't mean to put you on the spot.
Wikipedia says 8,300 in the city of Pulaski. And then Giles County is roughly 30-ish thousand.
30-ish thousand.
That's the latest census data, apparently. So
okay. How many Mexican restaurants?
Man, what did I just saw this. We have a good friend of Main Street Media, Mr. Carmen Brown, who is kind of the Facebook news guy. If that's a bit of a stretch, but hear me out. But he reports on a lot of things, and I think he keeps tabs of the local Mexican restaurant. I think we're up to 6 full-blown Mexican restaurants, and I think there's even like 2 food trucks in addition to that. So if you want some Latin food in your life, Pulaski's not a bad option, and you got a few to choose from.
And so you shouldn't have a hard time getting in at any point then, basically, right?
That's the way I look at it. You know, a lot of people in the town have kind of complained over the years, but the way I look at it is, hey, if you go to one and it's busy, just guess what? You just go to the next one. Find a table at the other one. It doesn't seem like it's 6th full service Mexican restaurant just opened in Pulaski this week
For 30,000 folks.
30,000 in the county. And all of those, to my knowledge, are in the city limits. So if you want to drive into town from, Minor Hill or Campbellsville or wherever, you can do so. But it's a bit of an odd situation in terms of a glut of one particular food group.
That it would sound like to me that Pulaski is pretty well saturated in terms of Mexican restaurants at this point. If
you want a taco, an empanada, anything like that, yeah, we got you covered.
And if you were thinking of opening one in Pulaski, not sure that's a great idea.
Wouldn't think so, but that hadn't stopped some people from trying. And the crazy part is all of them seem to be doing relatively well. You got 1 or 2 staples that have been here for 15 plus years, and then there's 3 or 4 that have opened. And you're thinking, okay, they won't last very long, and they're still thriving. So it's odd, man. It's a bit of a head scratcher. I'm not gonna lie.
Sounds like that's wild. Anyway, we've given you our show rundown for the next couple of hours. We should now give you yesterday's results and this weekend schedule on the rundown.
This is the rundown.
Hey, gang, the Friday Rundown is brought to you by Chip Walters of Exit Realty, Bob Lamb and Associates. The Blue Raider Voice also wants to be your trusted advisor in real estate. So contact Chip at 615-542-1915 or visit his website at choosechip.net. That's Chip Walters, proud to support youth sports across Middle Tennessee.
Thursday short schedule. We talked about it some during the show. I don't think, no, it wasn't over before we got off, but at any rate, Louise Roberts' solo home run in the first was the bulk of the scoring. It was the entirety of the scoring as the Chicago White Sox defeated the Atlanta Braves 1-0 yesterday. Jacksonville with a 10-0 win over the Sounds down in Duval yesterday. In WNBA action, it was, as we discussed, Dallas with a 94-88 win over the Minnesota Lynx, Connecticut 94, Washington 91. That sounds like a good one. The Aces with a 95-83 win over the Chicago Sky, and Seattle defeated Indiana 89-77.
That takes us to today's schedule. Here we go. Beginning at 6:10 tonight on Apple TV, you can see the Astros, who are at the Mets this evening. Again, 6:10 is your first pitch there. Just 10 minutes later, 6:20, first pitch scheduled between the Pirates, who are at the Braves this evening. That game will be seen on Valley Sports South. That takes us into Saturday. The Astros and Mets will begin at 3:10. The Braves and Pirates will begin at 3:10. Local television for both of those broadcasts there. And then on Sunday, the Braves are hosting the Pirates. Is this right, Mo? 10:35 in the morning? Or early?
That is correct.
Early showdown on on Sunday. It can be seen on Roku. And the Astros will get started a little bit later at 12:40. That game can be seen on ESPN Plus, also on local Astros television there. Sound schedule for this weekend. Sounds are at Jacksonville at 6:05 tonight. They'll be at Jacksonville tomorrow at 5:35. And Sunday's first pitch down in Duval, as Mo mentioned, is set for 1:05 p.m.
WNBA action this weekend. At 6:30 tonight, you can see the Atlanta Dream at the Connecticut Sun. Again, that's a 6:30 tip. You can see it on ION. Second half of that doubleheader on ION at 9 o'clock. It's the Los Angeles Sparks and the Phoenix Mercury playing in Arizona. Saturday, 1 o'clock tip for the Las Vegas Aces at the Washington Mystics. At 8 o'clock tomorrow night on NBA TV, it's the Dallas Wings at the Seattle Storm. On Sunday, The Dream is at the Liberty. That's a high noon start on ESPN, followed at 2 on ESPN by the Fever at the Mercury, and at 2 o'clock on ESPN3, it's the Lynx at the Sky. We mentioned MLS action tomorrow night, 7:30. Inter Miami comes to Geodis Park, taking on the Nashville Soccer Club. You can see that one on Apple TV. And again, no arena football in Nashville this weekend. We'll talk more about that later in the show. So with that said, that is your rundown. Your top story today brought to you, as always, by Piggly Wiggly over in Neely's Mill in Columbia. Be sure and check out their delicious daily deli lunch items available until 6 o'clock. Also, their hand-cut meats, and everything is cost plus 10% at the cash register. Veronica Fraley, the defending NCAA women's discus champion, well, now the Vanderbilt athlete is United States Olympian Veronica Fraley, as she qualified in last night's trials. She picked up the number 3 spot out of 3, heading to Paris with a throw of 62.54 meters. That converts to 205 feet 2 inches, which was 1 inch ahead of Erica Beisley of Grand Valley State to, again, pick up that number 3 spot. Valerie Allman with a 70.73 meter throw won the trials. Jaden Ulrich of Louisville, who Fraley defeated in the NCAAs, threw a 62.63, which is what Fraley threw out in Oregon in the NCAAs. So it's Valerie Allman, Jaden Ulrich, and Veronica Fraley representing Team USA in Paris in the discus later this summer, next month. So congratulations. We mentioned when we talked about Fraley winning the NCAAs and becoming the 3rd individual champion for Vanderbilt. I don't know what Vanderbilt's Olympic history is, particularly in terms of individuals. I'm going to see if we can figure that out, but it's a short list from an individual standpoint in particular. I know Will Perdue went as part of a national basketball team, but other than that, I'm not sure how many Olympians Vanderbilt has produced, but regardless, that's a pretty big deal.
Yeah, big deal for her, big deal for Vanderbilt. Nice, obviously, feather in the cap for the SEC, which will be certainly well represented. But having Vanderbilt kind of represent as well, that's the way I'm kind of looking at it, Mo, is this is great for Vanderbilt. Obviously, it's great for Veronica, but the SEC's got to feel excited too, because this is one of your schools that doesn't always, outside of a few sports, really get a lot of national attention or a lot of national shine. So the fact that Vanderbilt kind of gets to represent the SEC at the Olympics, I think they've got to be very excited about this news as well. And major congrats on a job well done for an outstanding student athlete.
Absolutely. She's not done either, Miss Fraley. She will throw today in the opening round of the shot put, while former Commodore Brooke Overholt will also be in the opening round of the 400 meters running for Canada in their trials up in Montreal today. So suddenly a lot of potential international flavor for Vanderbilt. And I'm still not finding their Olympic history, unfortunately. But one more never hurts. So congratulations to her, and certainly will be one more reason to tune in for Paris, other than trying to see if we can see Teresa Walker in action.
Yeah, this is the cool thing too, right? When you have these local ties, that gives you one extra reason to get up at 2 a.m. and check things out. Just I love when the Olympics or a World Cup or anything is in a time zone like that, because it gives me an excuse to stay up late, and then you wake up and you get to sleep in. Everybody's like, well, "What's wrong with you today? Why were you up so late?" Well, I was watching the Olympics, man. Cut me a break here. I mean, you
right. I mean,
where's
your patriotism, right?
Yeah, exactly. What do you think you're doing here? So I love when these are in time zones like that, and so very cool that Vanderbilt's going to be represented. She's certainly been an outstanding competitor for Vanderbilt. Started at Clemson, then ended up at Vanderbilt, and has really just kind of seemingly gotten better every step of the way. And then now kind of be able to add another level to this with an Olympic bid is really special.
Yeah. Olympic ceremony scheduled for July 26th over in Paris. The bulk of the competition begins right around that time as well. The exception being archery that gets going on the 25th. Also, football on the 24th and 25th. We got to check into that a little bit more, because I'm not used to seeing football in the Olympics, and I don't know if that's flag or tackle or what we're dealing with there. That's pretty intriguing.
Yeah, that reminds me, we haven't mentioned it yet, and I'll have to pull this up for official. But did you see the tweet that the USA got beat by Japan in a international football competition a couple days ago? It was like U20. And
I did not see that.
Yeah, it was.
I'm not sure you saw it either. I mean,
I can't repeat a lot of the jokes that were going around, because there were certainly jokes, but it was not a good look for USA to losing to Japan in tackle football, right?
I'm not sure it's a good look for the USA to lose to anybody in tackle football, is it? But
top headline
Japan.
from Newsweek: Team USA inexplicably loses to Japan at the IFAF U20 football championship. So, I mean,
inexplicably. That pretty well fits, though.
41-20, we got beat. So, I mean, our stranglehold on pigskin may not be as strong as we thought if we're losing to Japan in the U20 World Championships. I don't know if any quote unquote studs were playing for the United States. I presume not, but you never know.
Well, U20, I mean, that rules out a good number of folks. We need to delve a little bit deeper into that. That kind of deserves a deep dive, I think. So get ready for that here sometime next week. Let's go ahead and take a break from the Lee Company Studios here on Main Street Sports Today. When we return to Main Street Sports Today, presented by the Tennessee Orthopedic Alliance of Columbia, we'll be talking a little Nashville Sounds with Sounds pitcher Garrett Stallings from Duval. So stay tuned after this.
We thrive under the lights. A city of performers, putting on one heck of a show. Headlining night after night. Welcome to Smashville.
Whether you're an athlete or a weekend warrior, when it comes to your performance, don't settle for anything less than excellence. We're proud to announce that Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint Clinic is now Tennessee Orthopedic Alliance of Columbia, where we are redefining sports medicine and orthopedics. Tennessee Orthopedic Alliance's team of expert sports medicine physicians understands the unique demands of your body. TOA Columbia specializes in personalized orthopedic care, offering state-of-the-art treatments for everything from sports injuries to joint replacements. Learn more at toacolumbia.com.
Custom Stone Handlers supplies over 600 distributors and suppliers with quality stone products. Along with River Stone, we produce and distribute over 100 building, landscape, and other bulk products. Our goal is to provide quality products, service, and partnerships to ensure our customers' success. We firmly believe that the measure of any person or company is how they treat other people and customers. Give them a call at 931-490-4990 or visit CustomStonehandlers.com.
Nashville Sounds Baseball is back in Hit City for the 2024 season. Spend your nights and weekends at the ballpark with weekly giveaways, fireworks shows, throwback deals, live music, and more. Top talent will take the field at First Horizon Park against the AAA Minnesota Twins, Baltimore Orioles, Atlanta Braves, St. Louis Cardinals, Cincinnati Reds, and more. Tickets start at just $10 and are available now at NashvilleSounds.com. We will see you in Hit City.
With Lee Company technology, the best handymen are hands-off. Lee Company techs have been using visual findings and other smart technology tools for years to add transparency and virtually take customers along. You see what we see, whether we're in a crawl space or on a roof. With Lee Company, technology helps us help you, no matter what's happening in the world or at your house.
Hello, race fans, and welcome to Nashville Super Speedway.
That's right, guitars and fast cars right here in Music City. This summer, NASCAR is back at the Nashville Super Speedway. Get your tickets now to watch your favorite driver take on the 1.33 miles of concrete chaos. Visit NashvilleSuperspeedway.com to lock in your spot June 28th through the 30th for the Ally 400 race weekend.
Welcome back to the Weekend Update edition of Main Street Sports Today, presented by the Tennessee Orthopedic Alliance of Columbia. I'm Maurice Patton, along with Wade Neely, and we are now joined in our Nashville Sounds segment by Nashville Sounds pitcher Garrett Stallings. And I'm always fascinated during the midsummer when the College World Series is on, just how much attention some of these guys are paying to, some of their former programs. Garrett is a former University of Tennessee pitcher. And so I was wondering if Garrett would show up in orange today or not. He did not. But congrats, man, and thanks for joining us.
Yeah, no problem. Thanks for having me, guys.
So, what has this last couple of weeks been like from that standpoint? I mean, I don't know how much attention you all get to pay to that as you're going through your day-to-day and that kind of thing, and particularly for you because you've kind of been swinging back and forth between the bullpen and a starting role, I guess. So you kind of got other things going on.
You know what? It's we actually have a little bit more free time than people, I guess, maybe give us credit for, but I guess that just means longer days leading into the nighttime. But there's always time to catch the recap, or maybe you go in to grab a drink in between innings and you check the score real quick. But no, it's been certainly super fun to watch what the Vols were able to accomplish, and yeah, super exciting for them.
Now, when did you finish up at UT?
I was drafted in the summer of 2019. So it was actually Tony V's second year. So I got to play for 2 years under him and kind of see him come in and, put his mark on it. And it's been quite the climb since I've been out of there. That's for sure.
He certainly has put his mark on it. From Tony V then to Tony V now, what have you seen?
You know what? I think it's probably the same Tony V, just a lot more eyes on him. I think when he got in there, I saw someone had tweeted a photo of what the stands looked like during his first game. I think I was pitching, and there was a few people in the background, and now I think it's hard to get a midweek ticket at the Tennessee game. So I think it's the same person, just more national news. He's getting all these awards, well deserved, but he's still that same most competitive person I've ever met. Full energy, passion. The kids love playing for him. So I'm super excited for all the success, and just can't wait to watch what maybe this baseball dynasty will be for the next few years.
Yeah, Garrett, that picture of everybody in the background, it almost seemed like photoshopped, right? Because it felt like there was going to be at least a few more fans back then, but you kind of paint the picture. Tennessee kind of really had to rebuild this thing, and obviously you were kind of in the infancy of that. So that certainly was wild to watch. I guess I'm curious, what are one or two things that you have taken away, if any, from your time at Tennessee that you now maybe, and working with Tony V, now kind of apply to your game as you transition into a full-time professional?
Yeah, absolutely. I was super, super grateful for my time in college. I think it really set the stage and prepared me for what college ball is like. And I think, being able to play under two coaches, just seeing two different styles of, coming in and just being prepared and being super competitive and just truly believing in yourself. And I think that's what I'm super grateful for when, I was fortunate to throw on Friday nights at Tennessee, and Garrett Crochet threw on Saturday behind me. And, when Coach Elander's coming up to me before the game saying, nobody else we'd rather have on the mound, you start to believe those things, and you go out and you have some success. And, so I think it really just set the stage of being a true competitor and really just learning to believe in yourself at the highest level.
Having said that, kind of walk us through how's your season gone in your mind. And as you sit here, we sit here with you on June 28th, kind of really right at the midway mark.
Yeah, super, super happy with how it's going. Obviously didn't see, an early mid-season trade in my cards, being with the Orioles, super grateful. And I was traded to the Orioles, so it wasn't the first time I've been traded, but definitely the first time during the season. But, it's pretty cool being in a new atmosphere with a new environment with, an organization that, can share different parts of wisdom and, enable you to just keep going, and super grateful for this time. And, I can't believe it's almost the All-Star break halfway through. I'll take the time to zoom out a little bit and see what I'm doing well, what I'm not doing well, and just continue to try and keep getting better.
Garrett, you mentioned your midseason trade about a month or so ago from Baltimore to Milwaukee. Talking to various players, that first trade is typically the toughest. You were drafted in the 5th round in 19 by the Angels. Was it a little bit easier this time around, mid-season notwithstanding? I mean, I would imagine it's a little bit of a shock to your system the first time.
You know what? I think it catches you off guard anytime you're traded. You're so used to your peers and coaching staff and the way things operate. And my first trade was during the offseason during COVID. So essentially, I just showed up to spring training with a new club. It almost felt like I had been drafted again. This time around, it felt a little bit more different because, they tell you to get off the field, don't participate, and pack your bags and go meet the new team. So a little bit of a new challenge, but you know what? I was super excited for the opportunity, still am. And, you just have to learn to pack your bags quick and go meet the new squad.
What are the logistics of that, Garrett, particularly at the minor league level?
Yeah, I mean, I won't tell the whole story, but I mean, I was on the field at 1:58, and my manager's out there talking to someone on the phone and calls me over, and they informed me through one of the GMs that I had been traded, and go say your goodbyes, and next thing you know, I'm flying home to pack up my apartment, and I drove to Nashville the next day. So it was a pretty quick turnaround, but for me it was nice because I went to a place that I played before, same league. I was a little bit familiar. We went to Memphis the next week, and I had been there a few weeks earlier, so it was probably a little bit easier than going to the West Coast and maybe not having a car and figuring out those logistics. But you know what? Everyone reaches out. The Brewers are terrific on figuring out the travel and making sure I had everything that I needed.
Garrett, when you learned that news, that wasn't one of those famous clips we see where the guys are traded in the middle of the game, right?
No, unfortunately, it wasn't in the middle of the game, but it was right before I had kind of gotten my work in. And funny enough, they tell you not to do anything because you're no longer with the team, and they don't want you to go out there and tweak an ankle or do something because you're with someone else now.
Have you ever been in a dugout where any of those trades have gone down? And if so, how does that play out as far as just the vibes, I guess, if nothing else?
Yeah, I can't remember the team. Maybe it was the Astros, but I was playing somewhere in High A, and I think I think the guy who was playing shortstop got traded in the middle of the game. So, you see them walking off with their full bag and helmet in hand. And I would imagine that's a little bit more of a, a tough situation to handle, and it may be a little bit more emotional because, you got the adrenaline from playing. And, Evan McKendry, who's on our team, he was traded from, the Durham Bulls to here. And I think he was a part of one where he got traded to the team he was with, so he just literally switched dugouts. Like he walked over to a different tunnel and joined the team. I imagine that's a little bit more overwhelming than my situation.
And Garrett, you talk about a guy packing up his bag in mid-game and walking out. That there's something kind of added to that at the minor league level, because a lot of times the clubhouses aren't connected to the dugout, so you actually have to walk across the field or down the track to clubhouses out in the outfield or something like that. So it's like everybody's watching, where is that dude going?
Exactly. And they might even be a little jealous, getting a new opportunity, and maybe they're in a place that doesn't have the nicest clubhouse, or you never know what's waiting for you on the other side.
Yeah, it's funny that you say that, because everybody that we've talked to from the Sounds talks about, basically, if you can't be in the major leagues, Nashville is one of the best places to be. Obviously, this is a relatively new facility at First Horizon.
Cut out just a second, Mo.
The situation here in Nashville.
Yeah, you kind of cut out, but I think I get the gist of what you were asking. Yeah, when I was hugging my teammates behind, they were all, man, you're lucky. You're going to Nashville. You're going to a better town. And I bet that helps sign some free agents, some minor league guys that, they'll be set up in a little bit better spot. And, it was, again, something just familiar for me, and playing at UT and being back in Tennessee, it definitely got my spirits up.
Garrett Stallings, Nashville Sounds pitcher, joining us here on Main Street Sports today, presented by the Tennessee Orthopedic Alliance of Columbia. Garrett, again, 5 games for Nashville, 3 starts, 11 appearances, 4 starts for Norfolk prior to the trade. What do you feel like you are in terms of a pitcher?
Yeah, I mean, this year's been a little bit of a twist and turn for me. I think in the last 3 seasons, I've been first or second in innings pitched for the minor leagues for the Orioles. And then at the start of the year, I started in the bullpen, and just because we had some major league rehabbers there. And you know what? As soon as some of those guys went up, I started back in the starting rotation, and 3 weeks later, I was traded. So just a little bit of being able to go with the punches and, just do whatever is asked of you. At this level, you're always one phone call away or one injury away of making your dream come true. So, I know there's value in being able to be flexible and do different things. So if that's starting or going up in long relief or whatever's asked of me, I'm going to go out there and do the best I can of that ability. So, I think right now, I'm back in the starting rotation with the Sounds, but you know what? They might flip-flop me just to be able to be a little bit more available for whatever the team needs up there.
In terms of being available and the flip-flopping as a pitcher, how do you prepare? I mean, how do you keep yourself ready to transition from one of those?
I've got you now, but I think it's easier than you probably think. It's I still get to lace them up and play the kids game, and it's a dream come true to still be in a clubhouse and get to go out there and call this my job or get to do this for a living. So I go out there and just give it my best every time, and if that's coming in and getting 5 batters out or going through the lineup 4 times, you're going to go out there and give it every ounce of passion that you have.
Garrett, you mentioned the Orioles. I got to ask, what's it like being a part of an organization that kind of universally everybody's talked about how stacked their prospects are, and there's a lot of attention. Does that put any extra pressure on you, knowing that you're kind of a part of that and in that mix, or how do you approach that did you approach that from a personal level?
Yeah, absolutely. You know, I wouldn't say it added like a ton of pressure. Maybe more like what I was talking about Tony V. Maybe just more eyes on you. You know, just it's pretty fun being a part of that. You know, number one or number two in terms of having the most prospects, or but it's pretty cool. You look out there and you're playing with the best players, and that's probably what you want. You want to be able to rise to that level and make yourself better. And it's no better than when I was in AA, I think Gunnar Henderson was at shortstop. We had Joey Ortiz at second, Westberg at third. You're looking and you're like, man, these guys are major league caliber players, and I get to play with them every day. And it's pretty neat being able to pick their brains and see about how they go about their business, and maybe that helps elevate your game.
Yeah, chance for you to learn something as well.
Absolutely. Garrett Stallings, Nashville Sounds pitcher, joining us here on Main Street Sports today. The Sounds are finishing up a series down in Jacksonville. They return home to take on who? Memphis. The Redbirds are coming to town.
We're going
on Thursday.
We're going to Memphis, and then we come back. It's a weird week for us. We're going on the road for 9 or 10 days, and then we come back.
Oh, my bad.
Right?
I misread the schedule. You guys are going to Memphis. Okay.
Correct.
Have fun with that. It'll be a little warm. Yeah. So
hey, you know what? I bet it's cooler than it is in Jacksonville right now, so we'll take it.
Okay. Hey, Garrett, we appreciate you taking some time with us, man. Continued success, and we'll catch you up.
Awesome. Thank you, guys. I appreciate you, and wish you guys the best.
Thank you. Hey, when we continue here on Main Street Sports today, presented by TOA of Columbia, we'll talk a little Braves, talk a little Major League Baseball. So stay with us when we return to the Lee Company studios after this.
Nashville Sounds Baseball is back in Hit City for the 2024 season. Spend your nights and weekends at the ballpark with weekly giveaways, fireworks shows, throwback deals, live music, and more. Top talent will take the field at First Horizon Park against the AAA Minnesota Twins, Baltimore Orioles, Atlanta Braves, St. Louis Cardinals, Cincinnati Reds, and more. Tickets start at just $10 and are available now at NashvilleSounds.com. We will see you in Hit City.
Whether you're an athlete or a weekend warrior, when it comes to your performance, don't settle for anything less than excellence. We're proud to announce that Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint Clinic is now Tennessee Orthopedic Alliance of Columbia, where we are redefining sports medicine and orthopedics. Tennessee Orthopedic Alliance's team of expert sports medicine physicians understands the unique demands of your body. TOA Columbia specializes in personalized orthopedic care, offering state-of-the-art treatments for everything from sports injuries to joint replacements. Learn more at toacolumbia.com.
With Lee Company technology, the best handymen are hands-off. Lee Company techs have been using visual findings and other smart technology tools for years to add transparency and virtually take customers along. You see what we see, whether we're in a crawl space or on a roof. With Lee Company, technology helps us help you, no matter what's happening in the world or at your house.
Jones & Lang Sporting Goods here in Columbia has been outfitting teams, officials, and anybody else from T-ball to college for 50 plus years. Be sure and check them out at 931-388-8060 or online at jonesandlang.com. Jones & Lang Sporting Goods, the look of a winner.
Zion Christian Academy, zioneagles.org or 931-388-5731. You can schedule your appointment. Go tour their campus. It is beautiful over there, and you're definitely going to want to see it. Again, it's zioneagles.org. Give them a call, 931-388-5731, and schedule your tour today. Custom Stone Handler supplies over 600 distributors and suppliers with quality stone products. Along with River Stone, we produce and distribute over 100 building, landscape, and other bulk products. Our goal is to provide quality products, service, and partnerships to ensure our customers' success. We firmly believe that the measure of any person or company is how they treat other people and customers. Give them a call at 931-490-4990 or visit CustomStonehandlers.com.
Piggly Wiggly, located in Neely's Mill Shopping Center, is Columbia's locally owned and operated Cost Plus 10 grocery store dedicated to serving the community with low prices and smiling faces. Piggly Wiggly offers fresh, hand-cut meats daily as well as daily hot plate lunches from their deli counter. You're certain to see smiling faces and a helping hand when you're here at Piggly Wiggly. Come by and check out our fresh produce, high-quality meats, and more. Down home, down the street, we'll see you at the Pig.
Eighth, 1963. Warren Spahn throws a 3-hit shutout as the Milwaukee Braves win 1-0 over host Los Angeles. For the legendary lefty, it marked his first career victory against the Dodgers on their home turf. Over 15 years, Spahn had previously been winless in his only other start at Chavez Ravine, as well as 4 at the Memorial Coliseum and 9 at Ebbets Field in Brooklyn. That was this day in Braves history. Another lefty, I don't want to say struggled because, again, he gave up a solo home run in the first inning yesterday. That was all he gave up, but that was enough for Chris Sale to fall to the Chicago White Sox 1-0 yesterday in a game that was kind of supposed to be a get-right type situation for Atlanta. Didn't quite work out that way. Tough loss as the offense, again, managed just 3 hits. Only 7 hits in the game, though. So, maybe just one of those days all the way around. But former Brave Jarrett Schuster getting the victory. Sale falls to 10-3 with a 2.79 ERA with that loss. Tough day for the veteran all-star candidate. Again, 7 innings, 4 hits allowed, 11 strikeouts, and you get the L.
Yeah, that's just those are the games that make baseball frustrating, right? Sale goes out and basically throws a gem, practically a perfect game for you, and one fluke kind of dinger. Now, I was curious, was the wind a factor? Was that a wind-aided homer?
It was pretty well struck. I mean, Luis Robert Jr. he's no joke, man, and he just happened to get one, but he was the only one. Again, the White Sox with 4 hits on the day. You got to feel like your offense is going to help you out a little bit at some point on that, but clearly that wasn't the case. Albies had a hit. Forrest Wall had a hit before he was pinch hit for, and Orlando Arcia had a hit. So not a whole lot going on for Atlanta offensively in that one. Hopefully they can get that turned around in this 3-game series against Pittsburgh, who comes to Truist Park for 3 starting tonight. And, they better do it tonight because tomorrow is Paul Skeens Day.
Yeah, go ahead and if you're going to get a win, let's go ahead and get it tonight.
You need to go ahead and get it tonight. Now, it is Max Fried going for Atlanta tomorrow, so that's going to be a real treat if you like pitching. Tonight, it's Martin Perez, I'm sorry, with a 1-3 record and a 4.71 earned run average starting for Pittsburgh. Charlie Morton, 4-4 with a 4.20. Going for the Braves. So you like your chances of scoring a few in this one if you are the Braves a little bit better than you do in tomorrow's matchup. Skeens, we've talked about him ad nauseum. He's just been lights out ever since he got up. Again, unbeaten in 4 decisions with an ERA just over 2. So again,
we'll get into the Astros in a second, Mo, but that prompted me to look up ESPN's got a Cy Young predictor. And I was looking at Blanco's stats. I wanted to see, and he is in the top 10. I don't know how ESPN calculates this. But Skeens is not in the top 10, but you kind of almost got to wonder because Mitch Keller is for the Pirates. He's ranked 10th on ESPN's kind of power rankings, I guess. You got to wonder, man, Skeens feels like he hasn't locked up the Rookie of the Year award, but it kind of feels like he's getting closer and closer. But you almost start to wonder, man, when do we maybe start even thinking about throwing out the word Cy Young with this guy?
Ooh. You know, I think, and I don't say this thinking that he is going to ease up, but I think we probably just need a larger sample size from him.
For sure.
I don't know that anything's going to change, but I just think we need to see him do it a little bit longer before you start throwing that type thing around. But man, he has been dominant to this point. So.
You're right. It feels like, there will be a slight regression, especially as teams, see him for the second or third time. But yeah, that just was, it hasn't been whispered yet. And I just was curious. So he's not in the top 10, but Mitch Keller is for Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh, man, they got a quality little pitching staff.
Yeah. They've got Keller, like you said, they've got Skeens, and there's another young
Jones?
arm that they've got. Yes, that guy. So and they can run it up there, high 90s, triple digits. So they've got some velo that goes with it. So I don't think the Braves see Jones this weekend, because I believe on Sunday it's Bailey Falter, who gave Atlanta some problems in an earlier start this season. So it's Falter and Spencer Schwellenbach in the Sunday morning game, as you noted during the rundown on Roku. So I gotta figure out how to see that one Sunday morning. Breakfast with the Braves. It's typically breakfast with the Commodores, but
yeah. What's the deal there? Is that I'm curious why such an early start time?
I'm sure it's got something to do with it being shown on Roku. It's a Roku broadcast, so I guess that's the window they gave them. I don't know. You mentioned Blanco. He's getting the ball tonight in a matchup of 15-7 to this point for the month, and the Mets 15-6. So.
Yeah, kind of two of the hottest yet middle of the road teams in all of baseball will square off this weekend. Both sitting there right at 500. I think it's a 3-game set too. So, hey, somebody's going to come out of this series above 500.
Yeah. Blanco 8-2 with a 2.34. Jose Quintana gets the ball for the Mets 3-5 with a 4.58. And again, Houston's on a roll. What have they won? 7 straight now?
I think up to 7 in a row. 4.5 back of the Mariners. They've won 8 out of their last 10 for sure. And then you get the Mets. They got the weird grimace juju going on. Fans are, showing up to the game now in costumes. I mean, they're really going all out for this thing. So Houston, it's good that Blanco's pitching tonight. Maybe Verlander will get to go this weekend, because they're running into a hot team playing at home with some kind of eerie good juju right now. So
they do seem to have some good juju. Like you said, they just took 2 from the Yankees in the Subway Series. So they're and the Yankees are already 50+ wins. So the Mets are feeling pretty good about themselves right now. The Yankees at one time were the winningest team in baseball. They have since yielded that title to the Phillies. But as has been a theme in this segment, Wade, Bryce Harper and Kyle Schwarber have both been placed on the injured list.
Oof.
After lower body injuries sustained in Thursday's 7-4 loss to Miami. Harper with a hamstring issue, Schwarber with a groin issue, while making a throw during a rare appearance in the outfield.
Yeah, that's one that you look at and you're like, come on. You always see that, right? Why was this person out here? Why was the starting quarterback in during the spring game? Or why was
or in the fourth quarter of a 4-touchdown game or something like that. Yeah,
that's one of those type situations where you're like, come on, really?
Yeah. So, it feels like at this point there are two types of teams, teams that are dealing with injuries and teams that haven't had to deal with injuries yet.
Yeah, exactly. It feels like their time is coming if they hadn't been
Right.
bit by that bug just yet. You're right.
Yep. I mean, it's kind of a law of averages, it feels like at this point. And Harper saying this is his first soft tissue injury. Said, if I had something to go back on, I would let you know, but I've never felt anything like this before. So he's not sure exactly the severity of his situation. Schwarber thought his was nothing serious, but apparently they are both on the injured list, which sits them for 10 days. So, Harper, 303, 20 home runs, 58 ribs. So, in 76 games, and 3.7 WAR for what that's worth.
Yeah, they got the Marlins, Cubs, and then we've mentioned it. They got the Braves in Atlanta right after the 4th of July. Next weekend will be a big series. So if they can weather the storm somehow, they got the Dodgers right after the Braves too, it looks like. So we mentioned that Philadelphia had kind of an easier schedule. Knowing what you know now, you're thinking, well, we wish these injuries, if they were going to occur, would have happened then. So we'll see how they can fare this kind of choppy water right now.
Absolutely. Meanwhile, Harper and Aaron Judge received the most votes in the fan voting for the upcoming All-Star game, which is scheduled for July 16th. So they are automatic starters, as everyone else will go into finalists voting for their starting positions. But, suddenly you wonder if Harper will be able to play, or if he might just choose not to play. Because again, that game is July 16th. That's 2 weeks from Tuesday.
Yeah, probably not looking likely, I would assume.
You wouldn't think. I mean, because, and I mean, seriously, it's unfortunate if he's not able to. I mean, he's been one of the best players in baseball, and he deserves those accolades and that recognition. But with what Philly's got going right now, him playing in another All-Star game isn't nearly as important as him getting good and healthy. And there's nothing worse than the possibility of him going out and re-aggravating this situation in a game that doesn't mean anything. I mean, everybody will tell you that hamstrings are so iffy, and when you think they're healthy, you probably need to give them a few more days. So
yeah, if he's close, the cool thing is, I'll give a tip of the cap to Harper. If it's close, he of all people feels like he would be desperate to get in there and play. It just seems like the kind of guy that he is and competitor that he is. But yeah, if you're the Phillies, you're like, whoa, big fella, let's just rest a little more here.
We got bigger fish to fry. But yeah, Harper and Aaron Judge have earned starting spots for the upcoming All-Star game. This is Harper's 8th and Judge's 6th. So they will bypass phase 2 of the All-Star vote.
And Schwarber is on this list on that phase 2. So yeah, the Phillies are definitely kind of like, let's just settle down here.
You know who's not on that list? Those lists? No Braves. And I mean, it's not really a surprise, but it bears, I think, noting when you consider the fact that the Braves had 3 starters last year and 7 members of the 2023 National League All-Star team. So the fact that they have nobody vying for a starting position this time around, and other than Ozuna,
that's who I'm
really not sure who you could even make a case for, particularly offensively. Now, I mean, on the mound, again, we mentioned Chris Sale. Ronaldo Lopez has been fantastic. Max Fried again is 7-3, and I think they're going to get some consideration. But, I'd not be surprised if the Braves don't have a single offensive player on the National League All-Star team.
Feels like Ozuna would probably be your best shot, like you said, and presumably Sale would get in there.
10 wins, you would think, would be kind of tough to leave out.
You would think so. And that, I'm reading a little more here. It does look like that is kind of a hybrid almost. It's like a player vote, but also there is an element of the commissioner's office kind of selecting. So, yeah, at that point, it's like, all right, this dude's stats are off the charts. He had one really kind of rough outing, what was that, about a month ago? But other than that, he's been stellar all year. So, I mean, if you leave it up to kind of the quote-unquote professionals, presumably he's going to get a nod for sure.
You'd like to think. So that'll be interesting to keep an eye on here over the next couple of weeks. The second phase of voting begins on Sunday and concludes on Wednesday.
Which, by the way, this reminds me of I'm getting emo and nostalgia going down this process here, because I remember vividly as a kid, keeping tabs on everything, and you got like pamphlets in the mail, or you had to pick them up at a gas station and you check them out and you fill them in. I did that religiously, and I don't think I've now that it's even easier than ever to do this, I don't know that I've done it. I don't know that I've ever done this. So it's
remember the punch ballots? I think you'd pick them up at Dairy Queen or Baskin Robbins or something like that, and you would go through and you would punch out whoever it was you were voting for, and then you had to mail them back in or drop them in a box there or something like that. I don't remember all of the details, but yeah, you are right. And now that voting is easier than ever, we do it less and less. This.
I'm glad I'm not the only one, because I was like, man, I remember that. You're right. I think it was a Dairy Queen, because we have back in the day, we've already gone through Pulaski's restaurant run down here. But back in the day, we had a gas station that had a Dairy Queen attached to it. The Dairy Queen is no longer in existence. And I definitely remember picking up one at that gas station, but I guess it was probably because there was the DQ attached to it. So
there you go.
I don't vote anymore, I guess, for the All-Star ballot, which is, like I said, it's easy. It's easier than it's ever been. And presumably the totals are higher than they've ever been because it's so easy. I just don't know why I've never bothered to do that.
Because you got so much going on.
I mean, all I got to do is whip this thing out and just, click two buttons, and I could probably vote. I could probably try and get an Astro or two in there, but I just haven't done it for some reason. I don't know. I feel a little inferior right now.
Your Astros, for all their struggles, Jose Altuve is a finalist at second base along with Marcus Semien of the Rangers. And Kyle Tucker is a finalist in the outfield along with Soto, Juan, Santander. That's it. And then Yordan Alvarez is a finalist at DH. So
Tucker would get my vote if you had to pick one, but he's kind of in the same boat as Schwarber and Harper. They're not real sure when his timetable is really as far as coming back. So I'd be okay if he ends up not playing. It'd be cool to see him out there, but if he doesn't play, that's for bigger fish to fry, as you said earlier. I agree.
Absolutely. You mentioned Dairy Queen, and I have to say 3 words: hot fudge cake.
Ooh, baby.
Yeah. With that, we will wrap up our number 1 of the weekend update edition of Main Street Sports Today, presented by the Tennessee Orthopedic Alliance of Columbia. When we return to the Lee Company studios, we will be talking little grab bag. So stay tuned to see what we pull out of it after this break.
We thrive under the lights. A city of performers, putting on one heck of a show. Headlining night after night. Welcome to Smashville.
Whether you're an athlete or a weekend warrior, when it comes to your performance, don't settle for anything less than excellence. We're proud to announce that Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint Clinic is now Tennessee Orthopedic Alliance of Columbia, where we are redefining sports medicine and orthopedics. Tennessee Orthopedic Alliance's team of expert sports medicine physicians understands the unique demands of your body. TOA Columbia specializes in personalized orthopedic care, offering state-of-the-art treatments for everything from sports injuries to joint replacements. Learn more at toacolumbia.com.
With Lee Company technology, the best handymen are hands-off. Lee Company techs have been using visual findings and other smart technology tools for years to add transparency and virtually take customers along. You see what we see, whether we're in a crawl space or on a roof. With Lee Company, technology helps us help you, no matter what's happening in the world or at your house.
Jones & Lang Sporting Goods here in Columbia has been outfitting teams, officials, and anybody else from T-ball to college for 50 plus years. Be sure and check them out at 931-388-8060 or online at jonesandlang.com. Jones & Lang Sporting Goods, the look of a winner.
Zion Christian Academy, zioneagles.org or 931-388-5731. You can schedule your appointment. Go tour their campus. It is beautiful over there, and you're definitely going to want to see it. Again, it's zioneagles.org. Give them a call, 931-388-5731, and schedule your tour today.
Piggly Wiggly, located in Neely's Mill Shopping Center, is Columbia's locally owned and operated Cost Plus 10 grocery store dedicated to serving the community with low prices and smiling faces. Piggly Wiggly offers fresh, hand-cut meats daily as well as daily hot plate lunches from their deli counter. You're certain to see smiling faces and a helping hand when you're here at Piggly Wiggly. Come by and check out our fresh produce, high-quality meats, and more. Down home, down the street, we'll see you at the Pig.
Nashville Sounds Baseball is back in Hit City for the 2024 season. Spend your nights and weekends at the ballpark with weekly giveaways, fireworks shows, throwback deals, live music, and more. Top talent will take the field at First Horizon Park against the AAA Minnesota Twins, Baltimore Orioles, Atlanta Braves, St. Louis Cardinals, Cincinnati Reds, and more. Tickets start at just $10 and are available now at NashvilleSounds.com. We will see you in Hit City.
Welcome to Protein Snack Shop, your destination for healthy and delicious low-carb snacks. Our specialty lies in providing protein-packed desserts that are perfect for those following a keto diet. Our products are made with high-quality ingredients, ensuring that you can satisfy your cravings without compromising your health goals. From a variety of flavors and options to choose from, you can enjoy guilt-free snacking while staying on track with your fitness journey. Don't miss out on our limited time offer. Discover Protein Snack Shop today.
Bluegrass Auction Associates is hosting another estate auction in White House, Tennessee on Saturday, July 20th at 10 a.m. Join Bluegrass as they sell the Judy Matthews Honeycutt Estate, conveniently located in the scenic Orchard Park subdivision. This beautiful estate includes both real estate and personal property, so everything must go. Everything will be sold on-site and in person, and a 10% buyer's premium is added to the final bid. So bid with confidence with Bluegrass Auction Associates, committed to excellence.
Oh. There we go. I'm Maurice Patton. This is Main Street Sports Today, presented by the Tennessee Orthopedic Alliance of Columbia. This is our number 2 of the weekend edition, and as you might notice, I am by myself because in true this can only happen to us fashion. During the break, Wade lost power at his house. So we are currently in scramble mode, trying to get someone other than me on this screen. In the meantime, we will dive into the grab bag, though, because as we mentioned earlier in the show, the NBA draft finished up yesterday with the final 28 of its 58 picks in the second round. And as expected, Bronny James was taken number 55 by the LA Lakers. No one else took him prior to that. And man, it's amazing the reaction that there has been to that. Obviously, it's a history-making move because Bronny James is in position to play with his father, LeBron James, in the National Basketball Association. And there are no lack of opinions about whether this is a good thing or not. But it's, I guess, when you've got a guy who is considered by many to be the best player in the league, some the best player in the history of the league, it creates this kind of attention when his son is coming into the league as well. Now, Bronny James is a 6'1" guard. In his only season of collegiate basketball at USC, he averaged 4.8 points. He's had heart issues. So, I can see why some folks may have some issues with him being in this position. But, I guess it is what it is. And again, I guess when LeBron has achieved what he's achieved and achieved the status that he has achieved, then you can do these kind of things. I don't know that anybody else has been in a position to, influence anyone to have their sons drafted by the team that they were playing on. So this is definitely a unique situation, and as so many do, will bear watching. So we will get more into the grab bag, but right now we're going to shift gears a little bit, and we are going to accelerate the appearance of VALAIR SHABILLA to talk a little NSC. The Nashville Soccer Club will be hosting Inter Miami tomorrow night at Geodis Park. VALAIR, thanks for coming in with us a little quicker than intended, but desperate times call for desperate measures.
Hey, no problem at all. I was actually watching. I just tuned in a little bit earlier, and power issues, internet issues, nothing we haven't dealt with before. So happy to be here.
Exactly. Got to be a little flexible sometime, man. We've talked about this matchup off and on over the course of the season. Obviously, Messi isn't going to be here. He's got some other things going on, but this is still a big match for Nashville, even though the fans won't get to see the best player currently on the planet, because NSC has won their last two matchups, right?
Yeah, they have been. They've only lost one since cutting ties with Gary Smith. So 7 games now, 1 loss, 3 wins, and 3 draws. So not too bad really for Nashville SC since kind of cutting ties. The other part of it is that it's almost even without Messi, you're looking at a Miami side that is currently leading the Supporters Shield, which is leading the MLS league wide in terms of points. So they are the number 1 team in the league right now, with Messi, without Messi. That's besides the point, right? But they have a crop of really good players, young players that kind of stepped up, even with all the injuries they're dealing with. So it should be a good game. And every time these two sides play against each other, they both came in 2020 as expansion teams, and there's been a little rivalry brewing even before Messi and all that. So it's just another chapter of that rivalry, and they always kind of deliver in these games. So should be an exciting match regardless of Messi's involvement.
You feel like fans in this area have had enough time to get used to the idea that Messi wasn't going to be playing in this matchup tomorrow night, that the disappointment over that is pretty well dissipated?
I feel like anyone who's been to at least one soccer game in the last 3 years for Nashville SC, or 4 years, I should say, for Nashville SC, will be okay with the fact that Messi isn't here. I think, I saw a picture earlier this week of like somebody doing a giveaway at like a dentist office or something, and it was like, see Messi in Nashville, and it's like, enter the giveaway, and it's like somebody had to tell them, like, he's not going to be there. But that's besides the point. Besides people who are maybe more on the corporate side of things, or maybe more business side of things, I should say, I think most people are. I mean, Nashville is lucky enough to have hosted Messi twice, of course, since his coming to the United States. And Nashville SC has played Inter Miami the most times with Messi than any other Major League Soccer team. So I don't think they can have money complaints about him not being there. Honestly, it's one of these things where Nashville, again, we've been pretty lucky with seeing the greatest player possibly of all time play here at Geodis Park twice already.
Valair Shabilla with us here on Main Street Sports today, presented by the Tennessee Orthopedic Alliance of Columbia, talking a little Nashville SC as they take on Inter Miami at 7:30 tomorrow night at Geodis Park. If you cannot make it out, you can see it on Apple TV, but might be a good one to get to because, again, NSC has won their last 2 matchups. They have only dropped 1 of 7 since dismissing Gary Smith. Where do you feel like this team is right now, Valair, under interim leadership?
Yeah, so Rumba Montali is the interim manager at the moment. Now he's familiar with Nashville SC. He's been the player development coach since about 2022, I want to say, or maybe he came in 2023, one of the two. So he's been around for a little bit. This was not a new addition. It was more so somebody stepping up when they needed him, right? So he's familiar with the players. He knows all the players. He knows all the Huntsville players as well. So he's pretty comfortable where he is. Now, they've been pretty clear about Rumba Montali not being a front runner for this, not even being considered for this full-time position, really, and kind of going back to his player development role once they find the new coach. Now, there's been a pretty big, I wouldn't say a rumor, it's a report really from Tom Bogert, who's like, he's from the Athletic. He reports everything on soccer, does a great job. That BJ Callahan, who is the assistant manager currently to the United States men's national team, that he's the front runner for the Nashville SC job. We haven't heard anything since, which makes sense because the United States are currently competing in Copa America, of course. So chances are, if the assistant was to come to Nashville SC, it would be after the tournament's over, which unfortunately for the United States might be a little bit earlier than they had hoped.
Wade Neely is back with us.
Can you guys hear
me? We can hear you. Yeah. And I'm glad you are here because you are significantly better versed in footy than I am. So fire away, big guy.
Well, sorry for the delays here. More on the goings-ons of the Pulaski electric system a little bit later. But while we got Valair here, let's get down to brass tacks. And Valair, we've obviously discussed that Nashville's on a pretty good run of form here. And you had mentioned the last time you were with us that interim manager bump is the real thing. And I guess I'm curious, who is shining and who is kind of playing well that you could see this kind of maybe catapulting them to a strong rest of the season individually in your mind?
I think, obviously Sam Surridge and Hani Mukhtar are the 2 stars for this team. But if I was to throw in another name who's really struggled throughout the season, and I don't think it had to do with the manager, more so he was hurt and wasn't able to kind of contribute the way he wanted to coming into the season, Tyler Boyd is the name I would throw in there. Tyler Boyd came in, now not to be confused with a wide receiver, but Tyler Boyd, the winger, who in a way, the winger position in soccer is like a wide receiver in football, really. So, they have some stuff in common. But Tyler Boyd came into this team as to play a big part. He didn't come in as just another squad player. He came in to be a starter and play and contribute with goals. Now, he scored in his debut in the Champions Cup, and I think assisted as well in that game. And since then, he wasn't able to score until last week. So it's been a few months for him. Now, a lot of that he's been out injured and recovering from injury during that period. But also he played a good amount of time and just wasn't able to get that final touch. He's already got an assist and a goal in the last 2 games. He got a match-winning assist against Toronto in the last minute, assisting Sam Surridge. With a beautiful back heel. Definitely go check that goal out. And then he scored the winning goal against New York City FC just last week here at Geodis Park. So in Nashville ended up winning 1-0. So he's really coming to his own. It's been frustrating again for him, but now you see him kind of thriving a little bit. And I did ask him about this actually after the game on Saturday last week. And he said that he enjoys playing in this new formation that Rumba Muntali has introduced to the squad, where there's a little bit more of a true winger build, really. And he enjoys playing on that right side as more of a winger, less so, inverting in or maybe a wing back position, but just a pure winger on the right side. So I would say Tyler Boyd for sure has impressed. But honestly, the biggest storyline here is Rumba Muntali being able to bring Nashville back to its defensive acumen, defensive prowess, whatever you want to call it. Nashville was the team that usually 1 or 2 goals would do the trick in attack because the defense is so secure. Earlier this season, that just wasn't the case. You needed 3, 4, 5 goals to win the games. And under Rumba Muntali, they've been able to have already 4 clean sheets in 7 games, which is a pretty incredible record so far.
Valair, apologies if you guys have already discussed. Oh, sorry, guys, cutting in and out here on my end. Apologies if you guys have already discussed this, but Valair, can you kind of paint the picture of there's these big international tournaments going on. We also have a Nashville connection with the Olympics coming up. What does this do? How MLS is it the only league that really kind of deals with this as far as a extended absence for guys? And then how do you kind of navigate that as a club, knowing some of your guys are out for weeks at a time now compared to your usual international break of just a couple of weeks?
Yeah, so with these international tournaments going on, they usually go on in the summer. Now, because of MLS's schedule, they generally have to also play in the summer. So it's kind of tough for them to keep up with that. Now, MLS does have the opportunity to maybe have a longer break in the summer if the introduction of the Leagues Cup wasn't brought in, like at least in the form that it is right now. Since last year, they are doing a Leagues Cup with the Mexican teams, with every single team from both leagues get to play. And with that in this summer schedule as well, it becomes so congested and they cannot take any time off when these big tournaments are going on. Now, for Nashville SC, for example, you have Shaq Moore, who's with the United States national team. You have Jacob Schaffelberg, who's with the Canadian national team. And you have Anibal Godoy, who did go with the Panama national team and unfortunately got injured there with the Panama national team. So he's out even if he's not playing for Panama. And like you mentioned, most likely once the Olympics come around, which is in the next month or so, Walker Zimmerman will be in that team for the United States national team. So you have 4 very, very important players who will be missing for about a month or so, give or take. And a lot of teams in MLS struggle with this. And we've seen coaches in the past come out against this part, come out against the schedule congestion and being able to do that. I don't think MLS is the only league. It's one of the only leagues in the world that continue to play. And we saw it even in the past. We see them even play through a World Cup. Now, it has been confirmed that in 2026, when the World Cup is in the United States, Mexico, and Canada, MLS will stop playing during that period. I don't know what their plan is, because to me, the schedule seems very full to the point where unless you stop Leagues Cup, there's no way you can take these breaks in the summer. So there needs to be a little bit more of a maybe scheduling, maybe thinking of the players first or the fans first before thinking of the revenue that certain things are generating for MLS. But that's maybe a topic for another day. I'm happy to go into it, but I feel like you'll hear me just rant about it.
Ranting is somewhat standard on this show, so we have certainly had our share of those. Valair Shabilla of Broadway Sports Media joining us here on Main Street Sports today, talking a little NSC ahead of their match tomorrow night against Inter Miami. And again, you mentioned 3 wins, 3 draws in 7 games under their interim leadership. And we still don't have much of a feel as to whether they are going to name someone permanently, before the end of the season. I mean, could it be Rumba Muntali through the end of the schedule, do you feel like, or what's your anticipation, I guess?
when we talked to general manager Mike Jacobs, he was pretty adamant about bringing somebody in before the end of the season. He wants, according to him and everything we've heard from Nashville SC side, is that the ambition is to win this season. The plan is to win this season. The plan is not to build something for the next 3 seasons. The plan is not now. The players are definitely in a win now age bracket. When you look at all the players Nashville SC has, their 3 DPs are Walker Zimmerman, who is about 30, Hani Mukhtar, who's about to hit 30 or maybe 29 or 28, and Sam Surridge, who's 25 or 26. These 3 players, DPs, determine the designated players determine how your team operates. And when you see these 3 players being in their prime, that to me is a very clear message that this team is here to win right now. Whether or not they do it, that's a whole different part. But I think this team is built to do that. And Mike Jacobs pretty much told us that on the press conference when they announced that Gary Smith will no longer be with the team, is that they are looking to bring somebody in. And honestly, this has gone longer than I anticipated just based on those words, because we're about to hit 7 weeks, 6 weeks maybe now since they let go of Gary Smith. And the only thing we've heard is that there's a front runner. Now, again, they could be dependent on the Copa America if BJ Callahan is the person they're going after. But I am almost positive that there will be a coaching hire before this season's over.
Valair, I got to ask you, since you mentioned the USA and you mentioned Copa America, we talked about it at the very beginning of the show. Embarrassing loss last night to Panama, and a lot of questions about the state of the U.S. national team going in to a huge cycle with the World Cup coming to North America in 2 years. What's your read? Can the U.S. are they kind of boxed in with their coaching situation, and if they flame out of this Copa America early, does that force a move? What's kind of your read or your take on things?
I think it's really unfortunate for the U.S. to not, if they aren't able to make it out of this group stage, because honestly, you're playing at home. Now, be it sometimes those crowds are more don't feel like home crowds, I guess. But yesterday in Atlanta, it sounded and felt like a USA crowd. There were 60,000 people out there watching them. And I was actually in Mercedes-Benz Stadium watching the Argentina-Canada game last week. And that stadium, that atmosphere really is really good. And I know that pitch has some issues in terms of soccer, but they should have came out of there, firing on all cylinder and winning that game, because it's Panama. It's a team they've played before. With all due respect to Panama, they don't have the same prowess as somebody like Uruguay, who they have to play on Monday. So coming out of there, they scored a goal. It was called off for offside, and I think it was rightly called off on the offside. But then you see that one of the mature players, one of the players who plays in Europe, who were so accustomed to them doing the mature thing and playing in a professional manner, in Tim Weah, do something so immature, which is just essentially punch somebody on camera, right? I mean, with VAR being a thing, I just don't know why any player would get it to that level. Now, obviously, we don't know if there was something provocative that somebody else said to him, or something provoked him to do that, possibly. But again, as a player, you need to keep calm and not do that. So that happens, and that changes the entire game. And again, the U.S. end up losing 2-1, like you said. With that said, once the tournament's over, if the U.S. doesn't make it out of the group in Copa America, in a group with Bolivia and Panama, Uruguay is a great team. Uruguay is one of the best teams in the world. I'm not even going to count that. But Bolivia and Panama are the other 2 teams in the group. And if the U.S. doesn't make it out of this group, I think it's very hard for me to justify keeping the same system that's going on right now. I think for U.S. Soccer Federation, they have to look for a change, because I think it'd be very difficult for Greg Berhalter to keep that. And I mean, I was one of the people who, I don't think Greg is a bad coach, and I don't think Greg isn't a great coach for the United States national team. I just think sometimes things run their course. Greg won things with the U.S. team. Greg brought Nations League. He brought the Gold Cup. He took the team to the World Cup. His cycle is over. To me, it was always his contract ran out. He was out of the team for a month or 2, and they brought him back. And the argument there is like, oh, the players wanted Greg back, and that was kind of their decision. Well, Since when did the U.S. Soccer Federation listen to their players? I mean, that's a new thing to me. So I mean, look at the women's team. So like, I just don't understand like why they felt the need to go back to Greg when they was clear cutting point. Let's start fresh. Let's start with somebody else. Now he has Copa America. And again, I don't think this is completely his fault. A player just literally hit another player on the pitch. I don't think this is Greg Berhalter saying, go hit someone. But at the end of the day, he's the coach, and they're not going to change the entire squad. They're not going to change 23 players. They're going to change the one guy they can change, right? So they have 2 years to the World Cup, and they need to get their act together because this is not going to be acceptable come World Cup.
In the middle of Valair's talk about the U.S. national team, my power and my lights came back on. So whatever he just said,
flash. There we go.
We're gonna clip that. We're gonna record that because his word is gold right now. And yeah, Valair, it's not a great picture. And I guess I am curious though. This seems like if you get BJ Callahan from the U.S., does this run that the U.S., good or bad, especially bad, does that have any weird kind of tarnish if Nashville goes that route for their hire in your mind?
I don't think so. I think when it comes to the United States national team, there's a lot more criticism, and it's a completely different job. You get the players for a very short amount of time, and you got to do your best with them. To where in the club setting, you're seeing them every day, you're training with them every day. Your methods are so much easier. Now, BJ Callahan also before the United States national team, he did have experience with he has experience with the Philadelphia Union, who were one of the best teams in MLS once he left in 2019. He was an assistant under Jim Curtin, who's one of the best coaches in MLS. Don't look at their record this season; it's been a mess over there. But overall, they've been really impressive with very little resources. So when you look at his sort of record with MLS, record with the national team, the only thing is his only head coaching job came in that month or two where Berhalter was not with the national team, right? And he took over the United States national team and won the Nations League. So you know, he has a little bit of success, but he doesn't have a tons of experience as the head guy. He's been an assistant for almost his entire career, but he's been assistant with teams that play pretty exciting soccer. When you look at how the Philadelphia Union play, when you look at how the United States national team play, it's pretty exciting. I mean, I know people have their problems with that, but it's not like Gary Smith is not defensive. It's way more expressive and more fluid, I guess. And the other thing I'll say is that he has, if BJ Callahan is the guy, he has a really good track record of developing talents, young talents specifically. If you look at the Philadelphia Union Academy, some of the biggest names from America come through that academy, and they've been able to either sell them or develop them into really good MLS players. And that is something that Nashville SC has rarely ever done since their existence in MLS. They don't really develop players a whole lot. So that will be another plus that will go in. That will go in his resume really when it comes to Nashville SC, because you have Huntsville, you have the academy, and obviously you're signing these young players like, for example, Jacob Schaffelberg or even somebody like Josh Bauer. These players who either come out of the draft or they're signed for pretty low numbers, but you need to develop them into an everyday starter or at least somebody that important to the squad. And BJ Callahan has that sort of resume that has developed these players and done that before.
Valair Shabilla of Broadway Sports Media joining us here on Main Street Sports today, presented by the Tennessee Orthopedic Alliance of Columbia, talking a little NSC and other soccer. And again, so glad Wade was able to get reestablished in here to help with this because this conversation would not have taken place if it were just me and you, Valair. But we appreciate you coming in early and taking some time with us, and look forward to catching up with you again here real soon.
Absolutely, guys. Hey, come over to one of the NSC games. Let's sit in the press box. I'll teach you all about soccer mode. Don't worry.
Okay, I may have to take you up on that, man. I appreciate it.
I can confirm Valair is a good host, so yeah, he will fix this up right.
All right, sounds good. Thanks, man. Have a good weekend.
Thanks. Thank you.
We're going to take a break from the Lee Company studios, make sure that Wade is all fixed up for the final push here. And when we come back, we will rejoin the grab bag already in progress from the Lee Company studios.
With Lee Company technology, the best handymen are hands-off. Lee Company techs have been using visual findings and other smart technology tools for years to add transparency and virtually take customers along. You see what we see, whether we're in a crawl space or on a roof. With Lee Company, technology helps us help you, no matter what's happening in the world or at your house.
Piggly Wiggly, located in Neely's Mill Shopping Center, is Columbia's locally owned and operated Cost Plus 10 grocery store dedicated to serving the community with low prices and smiling faces. Piggly Wiggly offers fresh, hand-cut meats daily, as well as daily hot plate lunches from their deli counter. You're certain to see smiling faces and a helping hand when you're here at Piggly Wiggly. Come by and check out our fresh produce, high-quality meats, and more. Down home, down the street, we'll see you at the Pig.
Whether you're an athlete or a weekend warrior, when it comes to your performance, don't settle for anything less than excellence. We're proud to announce that Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint Clinic is now Tennessee Orthopedic Alliance of Columbia, where we are redefining sports medicine and orthopedics. Tennessee Orthopedic Alliance's team of expert sports medicine physicians understands the unique demands of your body. TOA Columbia specializes in personalized orthopedic care, offering state-of-the-art treatments for everything from sports injuries to joint replacements. Learn more at toacolumbia.com.
Custom Stone Handlers supplies over 600 distributors and suppliers with quality stone products. Along with River Stone, we produce and distribute over 100 building, landscape, and other bulk products. Our goal is to provide quality products, service, and partnerships to ensure our customers' success. We firmly believe that the measure of any person or company is how they treat other people and customers. Give them a call at 931-490-4990 or visit CustomStonehandlers.com.
That's right, guitars and fast cars right here in Music City. This summer, NASCAR is back at the Nashville Superspeedway. Get your tickets now to watch your favorite driver take on the 1.33 miles of concrete chaos. Visit NashvilleSuperspeedway.com to lock in your spot June 28th through the 30th for the Ally 400 race weekend.
It's the weekend update. It's the grab bag here on Main Street Sports Today, presented by TOA of Columbia. And as we were saying before we were so rudely interrupted, the LA Lakers took Bronny James in the second round yesterday at number 55 overall. Wade,
what?
Yeah, go figure. Yeah. I know that comes as a shock to you, but I did want to get your reaction since we weren't able to get it when we discussed it initially, when I discussed it initially.
You know, I hate to miss the opening because you're right. I don't think anybody is shocked. And the only thing that really kind of, I guess, if you want to just sits in my crawl, so to speak, is this just feels like that this has been set in motion for 2 or 3 years now. But then and that's all well and good. But on the other side, LeBron and the camp and the Lakers and their organization are kind of trying to paint the picture. Oh, well, it was just the right pick, the right fit. And it just feels like it's kind of been forced on us for the last 2 years now. We've been talking about this as a possibility, and just mysteriously it comes to pass. And I got no problems with the Lakers if they want to say and fess up to it. Hey, we're just doing this to appease LeBron, yada, yada, yada. But when you kind of try and sell us that this was just a right pick and a good value pick, it just feels very hollow in my opinion.
Bronny James, if he's Bronny Scott or Bronny Smith or whoever else, does not get drafted.
Nope. Probably doesn't come to the draft this year at all. Probably is going elsewhere, transferring. Probably doesn't even end up at USC if we want to be honest.
So,
initially.
Yeah. So, I mean, it doesn't matter to me what the Lakers do with their second round pick, but as you said, to just sell this as, he was the best guy on the board or anything else like that, it kind of insults your intelligence a little bit. So, it is what it is.
It is. And Mo, and we kind of joked about, if a team, especially the Celtics, would have kind of taken Bronny and tried to hold him hostage. I was reading an article today on The Athletic. John Hollinger kind of popped my bubble, unfortunately. I had this really cool movie plot planned, but it makes sense because the way that it was set out, Bronny, of all the players, he doesn't need the money, right? Presumably, he's set for life already, thanks to LeBron James and his assets and career earnings. So what he could have done is basically just gone overseas and played for a year, or just sat out, signed a contract for 1 year, and then just come back the next year. So that's the other part. It always feels like it was always going to be the Lakers, and it kind of just got shoved on us. And, I hope it works out. I'll be fascinated to see what happens. It just does kind of stink because we've seen guys over the years that get drafted or would kill to get drafted, and they don't get their name called, or they don't latch onto a team for whatever reason. And then this definitely just feels like it was set in motion years ago.
I don't know what, quote, works out looks like.
That's the other question, right?
Yeah. I don't know, other than, getting LeBron and his son on the court at the same time in a regular season game. I don't know what your other end game is here.
And I mean, there's so many things to think about. And I've tried not to really go down this rabbit hole, but here we are. But what happens if he does get on the court, and he ends up having to play meaningful minutes, whether somebody ahead of him fouls out, or who knows what happens, and he quote unquote blows a game or blows an assignment or a play? How does that play out? Does LeBron scold him on the court? I mean,
well, it wouldn't be the first time he scolded someone on the court, but does he scold his son on the court? So
I don't know. And then you and I were texting our buddy Bomani Jones. He had a great tweet. Do you really, it's all well and good to bring your kid to work when, you're in your 20s and the kid's like, 5 years old. Not quite as fun when you're in your late 30s, early 40s, and you're talking about a 22-year-old hanging around your office space. Nobody wants that, right?
Yeah, it's just it feels like there's the potential for an odd dynamic all the way around. And, there were folks defending the drafting of Bronny James by saying, Thanasis Antetokounmpo is still in the league. So
they're calling it take Tune-Tecumpo in that regard. That we've seen this story be played out before. The funny thing with him is he knows his role is basically a cheerleader, and he has a ball when he's out there on the court in garbage time. I mean, Bronny James has got some pretty solid game too, and you just wonder if he would be content with that role. I mean,
I'm just not sure that being compared to Thanasis Antetokounmpo is where you want to be.
Probably not. And Bronny James deserves to chart his own path. And if he wanted something different, then that's the real tragedy of this situation, right? If he is cool with whatever happens on the Lakers and playing with Pops, I mean, and don't get me wrong, it's going to be a cool moment when they get out on the court together. I mean, we'll get the photo. Everybody will show the King Griffey Sr. and Junior pictures again. I mean, it will be a cool moment. But in the grand basketball scheme of things, I don't know that it ends up being more than just a blip on the radar, unless it turns into something different, in which case it could get real sideways real quick.
The bigger draft pick for the Lakers took place the night before. I mean, everybody is giving the Lakers A's for their draft, and it's not because of Bronny James. It's getting Dalton Connect at 17. So we talked a little bit about that yesterday, so I won't revisit that. But
hey, only thing I'll say on that, Mo, is it's a great thing that they got that pick right on paper, at least, because imagine if they had swung and missed with kind of a project type pick And then you have Bronny James in round 2. Imagine how we'd be talking about that conversation today.
Yeah. The Grizzlies, meanwhile, picked up Jalen Wells, a guard from Washington State at 39, and Cam Spencer, a forward from from UConn at 53. So to go with Zach Edey at 9 on Wednesday, as a Grizzlies fan, what do you like? I mean, how familiar are you, or how familiar have you become in a short period of time with Jalen Wells and Cam Spencer?
Not too well versed on these guys at all. I do know that Jalen Wells has risen the ranks, kind of like a Dalton Connect. Started at a Division II, and then ends up at Washington State. The main thing is the Grizzlies needed some potential shooting talent. They got some question marks around Luke Kennard and whether or not he's going to be coming or going. And if he were to leave, then they got even bigger question marks in terms of shooting. Second round picks, and that's why the funny thing slightly on Bronny again is second round picks, very, very rarely are these guys going to be meaningful contributors. If you hit a diamond in the rough, that's great. But when you draft some guys like this, hey, if they work out, cool. If not, it's not the end of the world. And, I'm coming around a little more on Edey too. He's sounds like he is going to miss summer league to be playing for Canada as they kind of get ready maybe for an Olympic run. So if we were looking forward to Edey playing in the summer league, that may be on hold. But seeing these guys in summer league will be fun, and they need some shooting. It seems like they always are in need of shooters, and maybe one of these guys will stick with them.
We talked about DJ Barnes in the run up to the NBA draft. He was not drafted, but he did sign a summer league contract with the Cleveland Cavaliers. And, I will probably, and I don't watch a whole lot of regular season NBA, let alone summer league, but I will probably try to see him just because I'm fascinated by what he's been able to do over this offseason since he left NC State and kind of transforming his body a little bit. And so I'm again, fascinated by that, and we'll probably seek that out at some point once I get going, just to see what he's looking like literally. Another summer league signee, and I'm sure that this was signed off on by John Calipari and the Kentucky Wildcats. Oakland's Jack Golke signed with the Thunder. Golke, who ripped Kentucky for 32 points and 10 threes in the opening round of the NCAA tournament. So,
I mean, the one thing when you bring in guys, whether it's the second round or undrafted, is you're kind of just swinging for the fences. And this seems like a perfect swing for the fences type pick or pick up, right? I mean, This dude can shoot. And if he can shoot at the next level, that'd be awesome. Maybe you find a diamond in the rough. I kind of like, and you kind of see this a lot. You go for these high variance type picks because if they do work out, they could be really nice. And if they don't work out, you're not out a ton. So yeah, you're right though. Calipari probably wondering, hey, what the heck, man? I thought I was done hearing this guy's name for a while.
Yeah. It's definitely a throw stuff against the wall and see what sticks. And I mean, you don't really think Jack Golke is going to be a factor, but what's it hurt if he's not? Give him a shot. Give him 2 or 3 shots. See what happens. Scrolling through Twitter as we are wont to do, Dick Vitale has been found to have another cancerous spot on the lymph node in his neck and will undergo surgery on Tuesday. So he's really been battling that here for some time, and the battle continues for Dick Vitale. And if you all are so inclined, just kind of continue to think good thoughts for him. Again, he's undergoing surgery on Tuesday to address a cancerous lymph node in his neck, and wish him well as he continues to deal with his cancer issues.
Yeah, that's tough because I thought I just read recently that he had kind of thought that he'd kind of gotten past everything. So that's unfortunate to hear. Yeah.
Unfortunately, that's often the way it works. You feel like you've gotten past it, and then all of a sudden it's, something different. There is a story on CBSSports.com. Nick Saban will earn a higher base salary in Alabama advisory role than he did during a legendary role as coach.
Wow.
Now, clearly, there were other factors that positively impacted his compensation while he was coaching at Alabama that aren't necessarily in place now, but he will earn $500,000 a year in his advisory role. He was earning a base of $305,000 per year last season.
I mean,
and ESPN's going to be paying him too.
Hey, multiple bags being secured.
And I ain't mad at him. Plus the Mercedes dealerships, Yeah.
Diversity of income is abundant with Nick Saban. That is for sure. And
Nick has definitely secured many bags, which is, as many as he's secured for other folks. Why not? I got no problem with anybody getting paid. So
yeah, it does catch you off guard when you read that, though. It's like, wait a second, he's earning more now than he did then.
Yeah. Couple of things before we take a quick break. NHL awards were presented last night in Las Vegas ahead of the draft that takes place today and tomorrow. The Preds pick number 22 in today's first round. Let's see. What are some of our awards that were given out yesterday?
I know that our guy, I've drawn a complete blank.
Quinn Hughes.
There we go. Quinn Hughes took home the Defenseman Award.
He did. The defenseman from the Canucks took home the James Norris Memorial Trophy, which is given to the league's top defenseman. The Avalanche's Nathan McKinnon received both the Hart Trophy and the Ted Lindsay Award. The Ted Lindsay Award goes to the most outstanding player, and the Hart Award is for the MVP. So it's the same award, basically.
Essentially.
Yeah.
And the NHL, it is kind of interesting. I do kind of like this in the sense that I'm not going to say it bugs me, but it does crack me up sometimes, these awards. Well, this guy clearly was the best offensive player or the best pitcher, but that automatically throws him out of the running for the MVP. And I'm like, no, you can win both.
Yeah.
And Yossi is who I was meant to mention earlier, Roman Yossi. It was a little closer with Hughes than I think a lot of folks would have mentioned, and Teresa and Ann and some others have told us. He had an amazing last 2 months, really, of the regular season. He probably was a fringe, top 5 in terms of just, voting perhaps before that. But then the fact that he made up that big of a gap, that was just one final tip of the cap to Roman Yossi on a great season.
Winnipeg's Connor Hellebuck won the Vezina Trophy for the top goalkeeper in the league. So congrats to those award winners again. And Connor Bedard of the Blackhawks, I know this comes as a shock as well, won the Calder Memorial Trophy as Rookie of the Year. So again, the Predators will pick number 22 in the first round. We are scheduled to have Ann Kimmel join us on Monday to talk about the draft. So be sure and tune in for that. Let's go ahead and take our final break. And when we return to the Lee Company studios here on Main Street Sports Today, we'll get into the weekend update real quickly. So stay tuned after this.
Are you the biggest race fan? Main Street Media and Rackley Roofing are teaming up to send a family of 4 to the Rackley Roofing 200 truck race at the Nashville Super Speedway on June 28th. All you have to do is head to your favorite Main Street Media site and click on the Rackley banner to win.
I'm Maurice Patton. That's Wade Neely. We are Main Street Sports Today, presented by the Tennessee Orthopedic Alliance of Columbia. This is the weekend update edition of our show here on Friday, and we are closing it out with the weekend update. And when last we left the Nashville Cats, they were observing consecutive bye weeks before playing Southwest Kansas in their regular season finale at Municipal Auditorium. That game was scheduled for 4:30 tomorrow. Well, not so fast, my friends, as Lee Corso would say, because apparently the AFL playoff schedule has been announced, and that will begin next weekend. And so it's a 6-team playoff. 6 of the 8 teams in the Arena Football League will make the playoff field. Everyone except the Washington Wolfpack and the Wichita Regulators. So the 6 teams playing in the postseason are receiving byes this weekend, quote, to ensure the best possible experience for our teams and fans. The league has scheduled a bye for all playoff teams this week. This break provides the league and member teams an opportunity to execute an extraordinary and memorable playoff and championship experience. So, again, the Cats will go into postseason play having not played for 3 weeks when they go to Orlando next Friday night to take on the Predators. The other opening round playoff game will be Southwest Kansas at Salina on Saturday. Those 2 winners will play top seeds Albany and Billings the following weekend, Saturday, July 13th. And the Arena Bowl 33 is scheduled for Friday, July 19th. And that will take place. Wait a minute. I'm not sure where that'll take place.
I think I saw it in New York, maybe.
I think you're right.
I can't find that tweet. I just saw one a minute ago. I want to say it's in the Northeast.
Yeah, it's probably at the American. Where's Dusty Rhodes when you need him? It's at the American Dream Center in New Jersey. Specifically in East Rutherford. Yeah. Game is scheduled for Friday, July 19th at the iconic American Dream Entertainment / Retail Center in East Rutherford, New Jersey. So,
well, one thing is for sure, these teams should be well rested, right?
Yeah. I mean, I don't know if rest is what you want, but that's certainly what they've gotten. So we will see how that goes. Wade, there is a race taking place in our backyard this weekend. And again, we spoke a little bit with Heather Williams about it yesterday. But you've got trucks, Xfinity, and Cup races taking part at the Nashville Super Speedway over in Gladeville this weekend. The truck race, I'm trying to find times. The Craftsman Truck Series begins at 8 o'clock tonight. You can see it on FS2 and on the Motor Racing Network. Hear it on the MRN and on Sirius XM NASCAR Radio. On Saturday, you've got Xfinity Racing. That race begins at 5 o'clock. It'll be shown on USA. And, of course, the Ally 400 is set for 3:30 and it'll be shown on NBC. So big weekend.
Yeah, big weekend of racing. Just pulling up the weather forecast. It was looking like a washout Friday, Saturday, and Sunday earlier in the week, but it's kind of cleared up. And Sunday, there's a chance of rain.
Very minute. Really,
yeah, looks like we might clear out. That's kind of my general rule of thumb. Don't check the weather unless it's a crazy big event. Don't check the weather until it's 3 days before at the earliest.
Yeah,
you get yourself worked up for no reason.
Well, I mean, unless you're traveling or something. I mean, if
right.
you check it, then I get it. But it's especially around here, things change so quickly. But yeah, 15% chance of rain for Saturday. Your biggest chance, it looks like, is for the Cup race. 22% chance of rain for that one.
Odds are posted on that. Kyle Larson, Denny Hamlin, Christopher Bell, your top three quote-unquote favorites for that. Ross Chastain, didn't we say he won last year's race?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You can get him at almost 10-1. He's in the top 6 in odds. So looking like a pretty good weekend. Seems like it's always well supported. Friend of the show, Matt Murdoch of Chris Murdoch's brother fame. He lives like a mile and a half from the track, so I might get out and see him Sunday. But we probably won't go to the race. We'll probably maybe just kick back and enjoy the people watching, which is always a nice plus of NASCAR.
Well, I'm sure you'll be able to hear it from that close, even if you can't necessarily see it. So that should be fun.
He lives close enough that he said he could sell parking and easily make money in his front yard. So, you'd have to walk a little bit, but I don't know that I would walk that far. But he could, if he was an entrepreneur, he might get after it a little bit.
I don't know, man. You might not have a choice. I mean, I don't know what the parking is like over there. Mile and a half might be pretty prime.
I think my sister's going on Sunday. Maybe we'll give an update. Heather certainly will have us covered for next week. But
for sure.
Good visibility for us. And then they're going to be out there, was it early August, I think, when Indy is moving. IndyCar will be out there.
That's right. Yeah,
So
the Big Machine Grand Prix is going out there, right? So while they do work downtown. So yeah.
Gladeville will be on and popping this weekend, as they like to say.
As only Gladeville can be. Absolutely. Yeah. Other than the race, what are your plans this weekend?
This weekend, tomorrow night, I'll be at Nissan. Zach Bryan is going to do a concert there. We'll catch that. And then got some family starting to trickle in for the holiday. And you know how that goes. We'll entertain the fam and kind of hang out and do all that and kind of ease into Independence Day week. How about yourself?
I am going to be taking it easy. Very lazy weekend.
In the AC, hopefully.
Yes, in the AC, because I was noticing I saw 91 for Sunday, I think, in this race rundown. So yeah, I will be in the AC. 90 on Sunday, 91 tomorrow. We will be staying cool. I might step out on the deck and throw a couple of steaks on the grill tomorrow. But other than that, I'm going to be staying close to the AC. And
steak and eggs Sunday morning for the Braves game.
That 10:35 start. Yeah, I'll have to set an alarm for that one for sure. That's going to do us for this week here on Main Street Sports Today. Thanks to Wade for battling through his power issues and getting back in here to wrap things up. We will see you all at 2:00 next Monday here in the Lee Company studios for Main Street Sports Today, presented by the Tennessee Orthopedic Alliance of Columbia. Have a great weekend. We'll talk to you then.